Welcome to this week's edition of Ridge News. I'm Kyle. This week's short show is a look back at our Powerpuff football game and festivities. From Ridge News reporter Nancy, this shows our students decked out in their uniforms ready for the big game. Thanks to all who sent us your pictures. Our juniors and seniors really showed their spirit by participating in this year's Powerpuff game. It was a close game right up to the clock for both the players and cheerleaders. Tough loss for the juniors though. From reporter Marissa, here are the highlights of that night. Better luck next year, and thanks to all who participated. That's all for this week's Ridge News. I'm Kyle. Now stay tuned for WPRP and their first show with Jake and Faith.
Hello, and welcome to the first edition of WPRP this year. I'm Faith.
And I'm Charles. As you can tell, we're not in our usual location.
That's right. WPRP is a school magazine, not a weekly or daily show. So we decided that we would change our anchor spot for each show. And today we happen to be standing here inside of our library.
Over the summer, our school got a new look, or at least some of it did. It's a 2-year project and we're halfway through. Let's see what they've done over the summer.
Samantha and Chelsea set out to find the new changes to the main building and the plan for next summer.
Well, the renovation was 2 phases. You had phase 1, which was the front half of the building. For kids, it's from the restrooms and the janitor's closets towards the street. And then phase 2 is from the janitor's closets to the back of the building. So renovation will improve our school in a couple of different ways. They did all the infrastructure, which means the wiring, the internet, the fire, the sprinkler systems, some new ceilings, some new rooms, expanded the cafeteria, putting air conditioning in the old gym and in the new gym. A lot of the things during the renovation you guys won't see because they're underneath the ceiling tile or underneath the floors.
Glad that the main building is finally getting renovated. It's nice to see that something old turn into something more modern.
The renovation is currently ongoing and is expected to end by June of 2018. This is WPRP correspondent Chelsea George signing off.
I don't know about you, but I really like the new look.
I mean, it looks good and all, but I'm more interested in my parking spot and getting it painted.
Speaking of parking spots, me and Mackenzie went out and captured a few.
This year has been really difficult for the people who have paid for parking spots and wanted to paint them. This year, it's been a real struggle because of the new construction. We couldn't buy them before school and had to wait 2 weeks for the lottery.
So, when you come up here, go to Ashley, who's on ready? Say what I say. 002580.
Another problem we were hit with was Hurricane Harvey that flooded Texas and destroyed many things. Louisville was hit with lots of rain and weather issues due to this hurricane.
Well, it was really hard since it was raining all the time and that the construction at the beginning of school delayed us. But I took one weekend where it was sunny and just painted it either with, whether it was at night or in the morning, I painted it.
I'm going to be painting some bowling pins and then finishing off my bowling ball and then a big strike symbol right here in the middle.
I had a really good time painting my parking spot. The people around me came and helped out with mine. The people that parked next to me, they helped me with the design.
Not only has it been a real struggle for our seniors to paint the parking spots, it's also been a real struggle for us to create this story.
Most parking spots will also be delayed next year due to construction on our tech building, first floor, second, and third floor. With heavy hearts,
Back to you guys.
As some of you may know, our baseball team won a state title over the summer.
this has been the first state championships victory since 2013.
Jake and Wyatt went out and interviewed some of the coaches and players about their amazing success.
Hey PRP, I'm Jake.
And I'm Wyatt.
Just recently, our baseball team just won the KHSAA State Baseball Championship.
This will be the 6th state championship the PRP has won.
Let's check it out.
Next, we are so proud and excited to honor the Pleasure Ridge Park High School baseball team for winning the 2017 Whitaker-Baker Kentucky High School Athletic Association State Baseball Tournament.
I prepared to start the game kind of by taking it day by day, focused and knew my role, so just did what I needed to do to prepare for the game. The pressure and the things that was going through my head starting the state championship game was can't lose, because if you lose, then you're the chump. Pressure was always there every game. You want to win. Your teammates want you to win, and it was a lot of pressure. Had no losses going into that game. Pressure was more coming from me, myself, than everybody else around me.
Well, I think the best thing we did to prepare for this past season was the routine that we had. Since day one, everybody knew what was expected of them, and we continued that throughout the year. So it just allowed them to build on improving their skills and coming together as a team.
Well, I would have to say that we pretty much had a lot of people that stepped up. It wasn't just one person. I mean, it seemed like there was a different guy that could have been MVP of each game. Every game we played along the way, we could have had many different MVPs. It wouldn't have been just one guy that stepped up. They pretty much all stepped up. It was just an unbelievable team effort all the way from the top to the bottom, even the guys on the bench. The guys on the bench stayed in every game. They were just cheering. They were just excited. And then when they got their time to play, to run bases or to pinch hit or to come in to be a relief pitcher, they just all did their jobs too.
Congrats to our boys on another state championship.
On August 21st, there was quite a show going on, and it was in the sky.
We had an experience in a solar eclipse, and it was kind of a letdown.
Our correspondents Edward Smith and Laquan Richardson are reporting from the football field to tell us all about this astronomical event.
As the school gathered outside on Monday, it was all eyes on the sky for the moment of a lifetime. On August 21st, the day of the solar eclipse, it put on a great show for students. While the solar eclipse wasn't total, only 95.8% for Louisville, it still did please many.
It was the coolest experience of my life. I mean, I've never seen anything as cool as that or close to that. I loved every moment of it, every minute of it. It was just like, I looked up, it's dark, it's cold, and I realized this is what an eclipse is supposed to be like.
I think it was something that was worth seeing. I'm not sure that where we were, not necessarily in the path of totality, that we got the full experience from it. But yeah, I think it's something that was worth seeing.
All around the world, millions gathered to view the eclipse, the direct path hitting 11 states in the U.S. Hopkinsville, Kentucky was ground zero for the solar eclipse. As you can see, total darkness. If you are hoping for the solar eclipse to get darker or want to know when the next one will be, stay tuned for Laquan's report. But for now, reporting for WPRP, I'm Edward Smith.
Thanks, Edward. As many of you know, there was an eclipse on August the 21st, but what you don't know is the history that Kentucky has had with eclipses. The last two total eclipses that Kentucky has had was on August the 1st, 1717, and October the 4th, 1869, which was 4 years after the Civil War. Back then, Kentucky only had 100,000 people in its population, and it attracted a lot of attention and brought in thousands of tourists who wanted to view the famed attraction. Not much was recorded on the very first eclipse ever seen in Kentucky other than it sparked the beginning of myths and curiosity. If you want to see a total eclipse in Kentucky, next time you don't have to wait long because the next one will be on April the 8th, 2024, so make sure to mark your calendars. I'm Laquan Richardson, reporting for WPRP.
Faith, did you see our new lunch trays?
I did, and I really don't care for them.
I prefer the old ones. Well, we went out and got some interviews with the people behind these new trays, and we believe you all find this very interesting.
This year, JCPS finally made the change to biodegradable trays.
All of our old styrofoam trays were going to the landfill to sit and rot for 2,000 years. JCPS Nutrition Services were asked to find a solution to reduce our carbon footprint. They finally found something that was good for us in the environment.
Why the new trays? The trays have been a work in progress for about the last 20 years. So we started about 20 years ago pulling dish machines out of the district, and it was mainly because of carbon footprint. One of the complaints at the time was, we're using all this styrofoam, it's going in the landfill. It's sitting for 2,000 years or whatever it is styrofoam takes to rot away. And so I was tasked with finding a solution at that time. So the benefits of a tray like this, anything made out of plant-based, is that energy only goes into it once when it's made. And then it goes back into the recycle process if the school recycles them.
Into making these trays possible. I hated the styrofoam trays because they're not decomposable and they're not good for the earth. It does a lot of damage to it. And with the new trays, they're recyclable, decomposable, so they benefit to the earth.
The other thing is they're a little bit sturdier than the other ones, and then they don't have the compartments in them, so all of the little dishes and things sit more evenly on the tray. Plus you can put sandwiches or taco meat or whatever directly on it, just like you do the paper boats. People tend to like them a lot better. Obviously, they're adopting recycling practices. I'm getting reports that there's schools that have never recycled before that because of these trays that make it easier are recycling.
So with these new trays, you can recycle them and it'll save a lot of space.
We have administrators out in schools every day looking at what's working, looking at what's not working, getting the student perspective. What do you want to see for lunch? What don't you want to see for lunch? And so we've got a lot of different changes rolling out just this semester and some more for next semester that are coming to a school near you. Also, schools can participate in our school nutrition advisory councils, which again are direct ways that students can get input into what nutrition services does.
Well, that's it for this edition of WPRP. I'm Faith.
And I'm Charles. Have a great weekend, PRP.
Well, that's it for this edition of WPRP. I'm Faith.
And I'm Jacob.
Well, that's it for this edition of WPRP. I'm Jacob.